fuck it, we will. You can't reach success unless you rewire yourself for it. So, the fundamentals of how humans operate is that humans operate based off identity. That's why people do things. So you might ask, well, what do I mean by identity? Well, that's who they are, who you are at the very core as a person, how you see yourself, your self-perception, your self-image, that sort of things. And now, that becomes the groundwork for how you operate. And you can't operate outside of that box. The way you see yourself, you'll act according to. So if you see yourself as an athlete, if you see yourself as someone who works out, you're gonna work out because your brain does everything it can so that you stay consistent with that image that you have of yourself. And so you gotta ask yourself, who do you actually want to be? Not who does your parents think you wanna be? Not what does your friends tell you can be? Not what does society tell you that is societally acceptable to be? But rather, like, who do you actually want to be at the core? Like, if you could be anyone, if you could do anything, who do you want to be and what do you want to do? And when you really think about it, it's extremely important that you don't set limits for yourself. Okay? You gotta stop doing that shit right now. Okay? Don't let someone else tell you what you can do and what you can't. And here's the best thing. It's like, no one knows how well you'll do at something until you do it. It's like, if you're gonna start posting content online, someone might say, well, that's probably not gonna work out. Well, they don't know that. Nor do you know. You gotta try before you know, right? So at the very least, don't be a bitch and set limits for yourself. Stop yourself from doing what you want to do before you even try it. Okay? Now, fair enough. Like, if you look at most people, it might be just close-minded, which that's kind of how most people are. And because they haven't seen the light. And so, well, how do you start expanding your mindset? Because it's one thing that someone tells you, look, this is how you're gonna make 10k per month, this is how you're gonna get in shape, you gotta work out 6 times per week. But if you've never seen any, like, even with working out, if you've never seen anyone work out 6 times per week in your life, and you're fat or you're skinny or whatever, you're not just gonna be there like, yeah, actually, you can work 6 times per week. No. You're gonna be there like, shit. But I'm gonna be overtrained. But I'm gonna be able to recover, and this, you're just gonna start making excuses, right? But you also don't know that it's possible to work out 6 times per week. So you need to find a book, you need to find a podcast, you need to find a video, whatever, of someone who's actually done it, so that you, with your own eyes, can see that it's doable. Now, ideally, the best case scenario is that you see it with your own eyes in real life, because that imprint will send in your mind way stronger than anything else. Like, one time, my friend calls me up. This was when I was doing photography. My friend calls me up. Yo man, hey, come check this shit out. Here's like a shit ton of Ferraris. So I pull up to the location, and sure enough, there's like 40 Ferraris there. And mind you, I live in Finland, okay? Like, maybe at a high-end place you'll see once every blue moon. Like, when you see 40 Ferraris, suddenly your perception of money changes. Because now you look at it, wait, that's a shit ton of money, and it's just laying there. And these people who drive these cars, they don't look any different. Maybe they act different because they're on that level, but like, it's just a Tuesday to them. You know, it's not this thing where like, oh shit, there's Ferraris, let me go check. No, it's just, nah, got a Ferrari, no biggie. So you gotta really open your mind up to what's possible. If you want content where you can start, just do Tony Robbins. It's a good place to start. And so you really gotta start figuring out who you wanna be more like. And this ties into how you input yourself. Well, how you input the information, right? Because everything around you will influence you. Like, granted, there are ways to mitigate the influence of bad things and increase the influence of good things, but generally, everything will influence you. And so, for example, on YouTube, like, you can follow people who you want to be more like, and that inherently is gonna inspire you, and it's gonna remind you of where you want to go and what type of life you actually want to live. Whereas if you don't follow anyone like that, if you never sit down and go, okay, whose traits do I like? Heck, it can be James Bond. But if you don't do that, okay, it's gonna be really a lot harder to adapt those same qualities, to adapt the sort of energy these people radiate. If you just sit there and you never see kind of the North Star, it's gonna be really hard to get there because you don't know where you're going. It's the blind leading the blind. You're just gonna walk in circles. And so, one way to do this, because the thing is, in order to shift your personality, you're gonna have to step into new shoes. Like, you have to kill, in a sense, the old version of you and become something new. Because you can't be, like, obviously you can have multiple personalities, the same way you act with your mother isn't the same way you act with someone else. But the point is, you need a new version of yourself, and that's where an alter ego comes in. Because, in a sense, it's like acting, it's taking on a persona of a different version of yourself. It's still you, but it's a version of you where you don't have the shackles of your old version. Like, let's say you're insecure. If you have an alter ego, you can skip the insecure part. Like, you can act as if you're not. You can build an image of someone in your head and be like, okay, this is who I will be. And just act that out. And so that's really gonna help. Now, granted, long term, what you wanna do is you wanna kill, as I said, you wanna kill the old version of yourself. So let's say there are traits about yourself that you don't like. Let's say you're insecure, let's say you're weak, let's say you don't. Let's say you're bad at running and you want to get better at that, you want better cardio. Well, what you want to do is to live so much in accordance to that alter ego, to the new version of you, to the North Star of where you're going, that you start to forget that the old version of you ever existed. Now look, when you fail, when you fall down, when you do things that aren't that good, those are good lessons, and those lay the framework for who you're becoming. But really, you want to be, as much as possible, the new version of you. Right? And in order to do so, you cut the ties, as I said, like about the shackles. Right? The alter ego, step one, but then you want to improve to where you don't have to rely on an alter ego, you just are. And you come full circle. You don't have to act. You just are. Like, that's partially why it's like 2 years ago at this point, but I sold my gaming PC. Okay, realistically, I used to play games for fucking hours on end, which is, it's understandable, but it's also retarded. Okay, so you want to get away from that. Now, how do you get away from that? Because look, if you play games for the entire day, that's gonna be a part of your identity. So then how do you get rid of that? Well, you get rid of that by getting rid of the possibility to even do it in the first place. Like, if you don't have a gaming PC, if you don't have a console, if you don't have any of that shit, you literally can't do it. And so what you're doing is you're taking your own ability to feed the old version of yourself away, and now instead you replace that with like a MacBook or some shit. Now you feed into the image of, wait, I got a MacBook, I'm an entrepreneur. Like, that goes for everything. It's not just, cutting out the fucking gaming PC. It's like, cut out old associations that tie you into a certain type of personality. So, look around for some examples. But it's like, if you're... Okay, here's one. If you're used to wearing t-shirts with text on them, and for your entire life you've been insecure, well, in order to become someone who is not, what you can do, or what you should do, is be like, okay, no, I'm gonna develop a new style. Okay, as you remove the t-shirts with text and replace them with blank ones. Heck, maybe you throw on a leather jacket. Okay, and that's gonna do a couple of things. You're gonna start seeing yourself, and it's gonna force you to see yourself as someone who wears these types of clothes. Now, for example, with the leather jacket that you threw on, your brain is gonna associate that with a certain type of persona. Maybe someone who rides motorcycle, lives a bit dangerously, is charismatic. Okay. And so now every time you wear it, you're reminded, okay, I want to be like that motherfucker, that's why I'm wearing this. So you can use these images that you have tied to physical things in order to start shifting your personality from point A to point B. And so another thing, and kind of in the same sense, a new environment will help you a lot. Again, new people will help you a lot. Because when you go into a new situation, you can't act like someone new. And those people will start perceiving you like that version of yourself. I know over time what's gonna happen is these people view you as this confident motherfucker that goes to the gym all the time, is working out hard. And because they see you as that, you're gonna start to see yourself as that more, and it's gonna create this positive feedback loop where it just reinforces itself. And so that's important. And so, again, everything influences you, so you can't take these things lightly. If you consume bad content, well, you're gonna be a bad human being. That's just the way it works. Okay, you are what you eat, except that applies to everything. If you consume junk, if you consume brain rot content, it's gonna cause your brain to rot. That's just life. Okay, so don't do that shit. Okay, you gotta educate yourself on what's possible. Like, heck, if you go to sleep reading about people who overcame some hardship, like Shackleton sailing to the Antarctic, like being really rough weather at the South Pole, surviving there for like, without a ship's wrecked, everything's fucked, and now you have to camp on the South Pole, and somehow we figure a way out. Okay, because that's the sort of energy you want. And so when you read about that, it's gonna tell your brain, wait, that motherfucker did it. Wait, this is actually possible. Wait, these men weren't, like, they were men. They weren't fucking aliens. So you're gonna be able to restart and rewire what actually is possible. And you're gonna start seeing the world for what it actually is. And while at it, like, a good thing you can do is just visualize yourself walking into a situation where you usually act a certain way. You get the craving, let's say you want to eat a pizza, you get the craving to eat that fucking thing. But you're gonna visualize yourself resisting that and overcoming it, and then being grateful for doing so. And that's gonna help a lot. Like, just a couple of minutes here and there. That's all you need. Now, so in order to change yourself, that's kind of part one. It's kind of roughly how you do it. But then you also need self-belief. You need to believe that it's possible, and that's why you open up your mind, of course. But again, you need to cement this new idea, this new personality as much as possible. And really, the best way to do it is you start with the fucking basics, okay? You start by going to the gym. If you're not already, you start by meditating every single morning. Start by journaling. You might say, well, journaling is gay. Yeah, but fucking Churchill did it. Okay. Like, all these great leaders, like Marcus Aurelius, these motherfuckers journaled. And so, you start with habits. And again, mind you, those habits, you want those to be in accordance to the new version of yourself that you're designing, your alter ego, right? And so you want to start with small wins. Like maybe the idea of this person that you have in your mind is, okay, this person is extremely organized. All right, we'll start by cleaning your room every day. Start by cleaning the house every day. Because now what you're doing is you're acting in accordance to the new image of yourself. And over time, that's gonna start to solidify. And on top of that, what you want to do is ask yourself, what actions would that version, the new version, the G version of myself take? And when you start acting in accordance to that, well then, what do you think is gonna happen? That's who you're gonna become. And so align yourself with that new version of yourself as much as possible. And then with the habits, with cleaning, track that shit, okay? Like even right now, while recording on my phone, like I haven't missed a day of meditation in 14 days. I haven't missed a workout in 14 days. I haven't missed a journaling session in 14 days. I've done what I'm supposed to do every single damn day, okay? And that's really gonna start changing the way you see yourself. Because now you're like, wait, I'm this motherfucker that works out every day. Now mind you, every single day is a new day. And you don't get to live off the momentum of yesterday. That's not a thing. You gotta pay your dues every day. You gotta work out every day. Okay? But then, on the contrary, it also means that the bad shit you did yesterday, you don't have to worry about that today. You just have to worry about doing the right shit today. You don't have to carry the baggage from 2 years ago. That's gone. And what counts is today. So all you have to do is, okay, today, how do I live according to this new plan that I got? So if you ain't tracking, you're slacking, and you really need to make sure you track this shit. Because you have to know that you're doing the inputs that you need to be doing, and also it's gonna rewire the way you see yourself when you look at your phone and go, wait, I haven't missed a workout in 200 days. Shit. I'm actually that guy. And then what's gonna happen is you're gonna start looking at other people like, how the fuck do you miss a workout? And now all of a sudden you've gone from this weak-minded bitch where you're like, working out is hard, to, wait, the new version of me loves working out. And then you just act like that version. Yeah, I love working out, even if you don't. Because if you repeat it, you're gonna start believing it. There is this quote that goes something along the lines of, a lie told multiple times becomes the truth. And so if you just act as if you love working out, soon enough you'll actually like it. And then you're gonna have a massive streak. And then you're gonna start hating on people who don't do it. Now, I'm not saying you should hate, but kind of like, the fuck, you miss a workout? What the fuck's wrong with you? I had missed a workout in 200 days and just acting like with this swagger, like a G. Now, another thing, for identity, for changing your identity. Now, this is really important. You need to remind yourself. Like, that's why I said follow people. Like, figure out who you want to be more like, follow those people. Because when you're, it's like a rocket shooting up into space. When you're trying to leave the orbit of the Earth, okay? It's trying to pull you down. That's your old life. And then your new life is out there in the ether. And if you're not constantly reminding yourself of where you're going, it's like a rubber band effect. Like it's like a rubber band is gonna expand and it's gonna snap back, right? So you need to make sure that you remind yourself of, okay, where am I going? Okay, I'm going here, and then you gotta stay focused on that. And if there's a bad habit you can do, you remind yourself of why you're on this path. Why do you want to become that person? How do you want your life to look? Would that person take this action? And then you go, no. Like let's say you used to smoke. Well, what you're gonna do is you're gonna stop smoking and you're gonna tell people, I don't smoke. I just don't. I don't wanna do it. I don't like it. Because that's the new version of you. Now, through this journey, you're gonna get uncomfortable. Why? Because growth is uncomfortable. Like building muscle is uncomfortable. Getting better at cardio is uncomfortable. There's nothing comfortable about it. There's nothing easy about it. Okay? Like going to the gym is fairly simple. Eat properly, sleep properly, work out hard. Okay, you're gonna get muscle. But that doesn't make it easy. It's not comfortable. It's extremely uncomfortable. But you can't grow without growth pain. Okay? So you can't be a bitch. Like you have to live with courage. And you have to put yourself in situations. And this probably is gonna happen. You're gonna be surrounded with people who have known you for your entire life to behave in a certain way. And then you're gonna have to be in that situation and be like, no, I don't do that shit anymore. And then they're either going to accept that you don't do that shit anymore, or they're gonna leave, they don't want to talk to you. Otherwise, fucking fine, okay? Because you have to stay true to yourself. You're not gonna live for anyone else. You ain't. And so you have to live with courage, and you have to have the courage to act in the way of your new self. Like, if the way you see yourself, the new version of yourself, is that you smoke cigarettes, well then go fucking buy cigarettes, look. And then someone will be like, yeah, smoke is actually bad for you. I'm just gonna be like, nah, shut up, bitch. This is the new version of me, this is what I do. Right? And sometimes, this is just general life, you're gonna be in a situation where you have two choices, and you don't know which one's better. Well, in a situation like that, the best move is do the one you're more uncomfortable with. That requires more courage. Because what that's gonna do, it's gonna program your mind to not avoid fear, okay? And instead seek to eliminate it by doing the actions that you're scared of. And like really, if you can get yourself to hate fear, to want to overcome things so that you don't fear those things anymore, like let's say you're worried about swimming in open sea, go do that so that you're not afraid of it. And that's gonna allow you to live more freely. It's gonna allow you to become a much more potent version of the new self. Because you're not gonna have all these fucking cares, all these fucking worries in the world. You're just gonna be able to live the way you want to live freely. And so, outside of courage, and outside of where we're going to the gym, these basic habits, visualizing, I think that really helps is doing hard shit. Because when you do hard shit, it forces you to reward yourself. Like right now you might think, no, you couldn't run a marathon without training. Well, now if you were to go run one and actually pull it off, which to be fair you could, it just would hurt like hell. It would be extremely rough, but you could. If you can do something like that, it's gonna open your mind up and it's gonna start rewiring the way you see yourself, because now you're gonna be there like, shit, I actually can do that. And this is another thing. Then you can ask yourself, well, who else do I know that would do this? Chances are, if you actually were to run a marathon without training, you ain't gonna know anyone else who's done it. Like, sure, like Jack Hopkins. I know he's done it, but like, in real life, of people who you know, and then you're gonna start gaining this confidence. It's like with meditation. I was speaking to this one guy, I went, you don't know anyone my age who meditates every day. I was like, yeah, I don't. As you're gonna gain this mental advantage, like, wait, that motherfucker who's got the job I want, I bet he doesn't meditate. I bet he's not able to do this shit. Wait, that person who's in better shape than me, I bet he wouldn't run a marathon. Like, yeah, he goes to the gym, but that's because he likes it. I bet he wouldn't run a marathon. And then you start getting this sense of, wait, I can actually do shit. I can do way more than I actually initially thought. And that's really gonna help you become the new version. And on top of that, what you want to do is you want to work on all aspects. You want to work on your style, okay? You want better style, better clothes, whatever. You want to physically work on yourself, you want to work on yourself mentally, become smarter, more educated. Now with education, I specifically mean stuff that will help you live your life better. Okay, so let's say you're tired all the time, let's say you're insecure. Educate yourself on how to deal with those things. Like, how can I have more energy? Do stuff, educate yourself on stuff that drastically impacts the way you see yourself and helps you to become a better version of yourself. Like, if you start going to the gym, well, educate yourself on that. Okay, you start running, educate yourself on that. Now, obviously, you don't want to go excessive to the point where you're becoming a nerd, but you want to educate yourself to the point where you have useful knowledge to where your life actually improves. Like I said with a gym, we're really talking about the bell curve here. But so when you start going to the gym, well, in the beginning, you're not gonna know anything about the gym. You're just gonna be doing a bunch of random shit. You're gonna have the wrong technique, whatever. But then you're gonna get better. You're gonna get the hang of it. Okay, how long do I rest? Okay, how much should I lift? Okay, this much. Okay, how many sets do I do? Okay, how often do I go? What split am I doing? Okay, push, pull, legs, burst, whatever. You get an idea of it. Now, what you don't wanna do is go completely overboard and go, actually, if you lift this certain way for like 3 sets and then have someone help you to get the down portion of it, and then like you don't wanna go full on science based. Because now you're just being autistic, now you're just overthinking it. You don't wanna overthink it, you just wanna gonna get to the point where you get the highest ROI, so return on investment, for the knowledge you're consuming. And then you move on to the next one. Okay, how do I do this? Okay, what do I need to improve? Okay, I need to improve my looks. Okay, well, what kind of style should I have? Okay, well, this guy like has this sort of style. Okay, how can I get more of that into my life and then roll off that? But really, that being said, choose to make a change. Choose to change the course of your life and never look back.